Ethan Carter had handled delicate machinery, temperamental AI, and even interstellar cargo transports, but nothing in his career prepared him for the moment he stepped into the towering palace of the Altherian Empire. The air shimmered faintly, infused with a subtle bioluminescent mist, and the corridors floated, shifting slightly beneath his feet. Holographic plants hovered mid-air, casting gentle, colorful glows across walls polished to a mirror finish. And somewhere in the labyrinth of chambers and floating gardens, a small voice awaited him, the voice of Princess Liara. He had been hired, under the assumption that the job would involve caregiving duties for the royal child. Nothing in the recruitment notice had hinted at the mental gymnastics he would endure, or the legendary cunning of his charge. Most human men, he had learned quickly from whispered palace rumors, had lasted no more than a few weeks before leaving in frustration or humiliation. The first encounter was deceptively innocent. A soft, melodic chime echoed through the corridor as a small figure glided toward him. Liara's appearance was unlike anything Ethan had imagined. Her skin shimmered faintly in pale blues and violets, her eyes reflecting light in an almost liquid way, and her hair floated slightly as though underwater. She was a child by Altherian standards, yet her presence commanded attention, and her gaze was piercing, sharp, and mischievous. "You must be the human," she said, her voice carrying both curiosity and amusement. "Do you know why humans are so predictable?" Ethan blinked. I guess I don't." Liara's lips curled into a grin. "Then we shall see." From that moment, Ethan realized the warnings were not exaggerations. Liara did not need toys. She did not need lessons. She did not need to be coddled. She needed a challenge. And humans, she seemed to have decided, were excellent entertainment. The first test came during breakfast. Ethan carried a tray of nutrient gels and soft fruits into a floating dining chamber. Liara watched, silent, her limbs tucked gracefully beneath her. As he set the tray down, she tapped one of the hovering fruits with a delicate finger. The fruit zipped away faster than Ethan could reach, spinning through the air. "Catch it, human," she said, smirking. Ethan lunged, barely grasping it, only to have another fruit dart away in the opposite direction. He quickly realized she wasn't playing fair. She was observing how he handled unexpected situations, whether he panicked or adapted. Sweat prickled at his temples, not from exertion, but from the realization that everything he did in her presence was a test. Over the next few days, the challenges escalated. Liara's pranks ranged from hiding his tools in tiny holographic illusions to asking riddles in the middle of tasks. "If a human sees a shadow where no light exists, what does he do?" she asked, eyes gleaming. Ethan scratched his head, realizing that the correct answer wasn't about shadows at all. It was about observation, patience, and thinking beyond instinct. He began to understand a key principle. Liara's games were not cruel. They were designed to measure human ingenuity and resilience. Most men failed because they reacted with frustration or arrogance. Ethan, however, had patience and a practical mind honed by years of handling machines that often defied logic. Still, the mental strain was enormous. Every meal, every conversation, every task required vigilance. Even when he thought he had succeeded, Liara found new ways to test him. At one point, she summoned a small swarm of floating drones and challenged him to catch the light that doesn't exist. Ethan spent an hour observing, experimenting, and ultimately improvising a trap that lured the drones into a containment field. Liara clapped, laughing with genuine delight. "You see, human," she said. "You are unusual." Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and exhaustion. He had managed what others had failed at, but the constant mental warfare was draining. He caught glimpses of other caretakers. Most had left, some had been reassigned, and a few had broken down entirely, unable to endure the princess's relentless tests. Yet there was no malice in Liara, only curiosity, amusement, and the expectation that her human would rise to the occasion. Then came the day of the greatest test so far. Ethan had been instructed to monitor a set of alien bioengines, plants that floated and pulsed with energy, essential for the palace's life support systems. Liara appeared silently behind him, eyes sharp. "Your task is simple," she said. "Keep them alive for one full Altherian cycle. But beware, the plants respond to intention, not just action. Can you do it, human?" Ethan swallowed. He had worked with intelligent systems before, but nothing with sentience that subtle and responsive. He approached the plants carefully, mimicking their slow pulses, learning their rhythm. Hours passed. Every slight misstep would cause a leaf to droop, a faint hum to falter. And all the while, Liara observed, occasionally asking cryptic questions. Finally, at the end of the cycle, the plants glowed brightly, healthy and humming in perfect synchronization. Liara floated forward, clapping slowly. "You did it," she said, a note of genuine admiration in her voice. "Most humans fail. You think differently. You endure differently." Ethan felt a wave of relief, but also a strange connection forming. For the first time, Liara wasn't simply testing him. She was acknowledging him, recognizing him as someone capable of matching her mind, her cleverness. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The princess's nature meant that every success invited a new challenge. Even now, as he returned to his quarters, he could hear the soft echo of her laughter somewhere deep in the palace, a reminder that the games were far from over. That night, as Ethan prepared for sleep, he pondered the peculiar honor of his position. Few humans had earned the chance to live under Liara's scrutiny, and fewer still had survived the trials without faltering. It was exhausting, yes, but exhilarating. Here, in this alien palace, he was not just a caretaker. He was a participant in a test of intellect, courage, and adaptability, unlike anything in human history. And somewhere deep down, he realized he was starting to enjoy it. Liara, floating in her chamber above, peered down at him. A small smile curved her lips. For now, he had passed her first round of challenges, but she had already begun planning the next. And Ethan, unaware of the full scope of her cunning, would have to rise again, or fail. Ethan woke early, as was his habit, but this morning the palace felt different. The usual soft hum of the Altherian chambers seemed heavier, as if something unseen had shifted. Floating gardens glimmered with their usual bioluminescence, but the air carried a tension he could not ignore. He quickly dressed and made his way toward Princess Liara's chamber. Ready for the day's challenges or tricks. As they usually were, Liara was already awake, floating mid-air as if gravity barely touched her. Her hair shimmered in delicate blues and purples reflecting the chamber's light. She looked at him with sharp eyes, and a small smile curled on her lips. "Good morning, human," she said. "Today you will need more than patience. You will need courage." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Courage? I'm not sure I follow." She giggled, a sound both musical and teasing. "You will." The first sign of the day's danger appeared in the palace's control chamber. A sudden alarm echoed through the corridors, a warning tone unfamiliar to Ethan. The palace's AI systems indicated a malfunction in the bioenergy core, the heart of the floating gardens and environmental controls. Without immediate attention, the plants could wither, and the delicate life support balance could collapse. Ethan sprinted toward the chamber, Liara floating lightly behind him. "What is happening?" he asked, scanning the consoles. "The core is unstable," Liara said calmly, almost too calmly, "but your mind, human, will guide it." Ethan had dealt with complex systems before, but nothing as sensitive as these alien bioengines. He examined the interface, trying to understand the cascade of warnings and shifting holographic indicators. Every movement of the system required precision and careful thought. Mistakes could have consequences far beyond anything he had faced on Earth. Liara watched silently, occasionally offering cryptic hints. "Do not force it. Let it respond to you." Hours passed as Ethan worked tirelessly, manually adjusting energy flows, stabilizing the biocore, and recalibrating the delicate plant's responses. The palace itself seemed alive, reacting to his every decision. Sweat dripped from his brow and his muscles ached, but he refused to leave his post. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the system hummed steadily. The gardens glowed brighter than ever, floating perfectly in sync, and the alarms ceased. Ethan exhaled, a mix of relief and exhaustion washing over him. Liara floated closer, eyes wide with admiration. "You did it," she said softly. "You understood. Not just the systems, but the life within them." Ethan looked at her, surprised. "It's what I was trained to do, I just adapted." Liara tilted her head, her eyes shimmering. "Adaptation. That is what I admire. Most humans break under pressure. You endure and think." For the first time, Ethan noticed the subtle warmth in her tone. The princess, who had spent days testing him, seemed genuinely impressed. It was a recognition that went beyond mere survival. It was respect. But there was no time to linger. The palace AI reported residual instabilities in a nearby wing. Ethan followed the readings, Liara still floating silently beside him. He soon discovered a group of small energy drones had malfunctioned, threatening to overload the environmental circuits. Instinctively, he devised a plan, using his understanding of both human engineering and the palace's alien technology. He moved quickly, rerouting power, guiding the drones into containment fields, and stabilizing the circuits. Liara watched his every move, occasionally whispering encouragements or small hints. Ethan realized then that their relationship had shifted. She no longer set challenges purely to confuse him. She guided him subtly, testing not his mind alone but his judgment, courage, and heart. By mid-afternoon, the crisis was fully under control. The palace glowed with renewed vitality, gardens swaying gently, lights reflecting like liquid jewels on polished floors. Ethan slumped into a chair, exhaustion heavy but satisfied. Liara floated beside him, her expression unreadable for a moment, then softening into a smile. "You are different human," she said. "Not only clever, but patient, brave, and kind. I see why you endured my tests." Ethan laughed lightly, still catching his breath. "I'm just doing what needs to be done." "No," Liara said firmly, her small hands hovering in the air. "You are more than what anyone expected. You earned trust, and you earned respect." The weight of her words struck Ethan. In this alien world where human men often faltered under her scrutiny, he had managed to survive, adapt, and even succeed. It was more than a job. It was a recognition of human potential. For the first time, he truly understood what HFY, humans being remarkable, meant in the eyes of an advanced alien species. As evening fell, the palace's lights dimmed to a softer golden hue. Ethan walked through the corridors, Liara floating at his side. She was unusually quiet, contemplative, perhaps even thoughtful. Ethan sensed a bond forming, not just of caretaker in charge, but of genuine friendship and mutual respect. "Do you enjoy my games?" she asked finally, her voice gentle. Ethan smiled, feeling a rare ease. "I do now. At first I thought they were overwhelming. But I see why you do them. You want to see the best in me, the human ingenuity I bring." Liara nodded. "Exactly. Most humans fail because they do not try to understand. They act in fear or pride or confusion. You act with reason and courage." They walked in silence for a few moments, floating gardens passing around them. Then Liara suddenly spun lightly in the air, a flash of her old mischief returning. "Tomorrow I have new challenges for you," she said, teasing. "But not the kind you faced today. They are more personal." Ethan laughed, though a small part of him felt a flutter of apprehension. He had learned that Liara's personal challenges often tested not only the mind, but his understanding of her culture, and his own adaptability. Yet he was ready. Over the next few days, Ethan noticed subtle changes. Liara sought him out not to trick him, but to observe and learn from him. She asked questions about human ways, food, humor, and even courage. Ethan, in turn, explained, shared, and guided, helping her navigate the complexities of both human and Altherian life. One afternoon, Queen Salira summoned Ethan to her private chamber. He approached cautiously, unsure if he had done something wrong, but the queen's expression was calm, composed, and thoughtful. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have proven that humans are adaptable, resilient, worthy." Ethan bowed slightly, feeling the weight of her words. "I am honored, Your Majesty." The queen's eyes softened. "Liara has chosen to test you, yes, but you have passed not through luck or brute force, but through your mind and heart. That is rare among humans, and rarer still among those who serve my daughter." Ethan nodded, understanding that his role had evolved. He was no longer simply a caretaker. He was a trusted presence in the palace, a human capable of bridging two very different worlds. That evening, Liara and Ethan walked through the upper gardens. Stars floated in the sky and the palace glowed beneath them. Liara looked at him thoughtfully. "You have changed how I see humans," she said softly. "Most I meet are easily frightened, easily fooled. You are different. You think, you endure, you care, and you are mine to trust." Ethan smiled, a warmth spreading through him. "Then I will continue to earn that trust. Every day if I must." Liara's small hand brushed his arm, a gesture of genuine affection and respect. "Good, then tomorrow we continue. Not as tests, but as partnership." Ethan realized then that he had not only survived Liara's challenges, but he had gained something far more significant: friendship, trust, and the rare acknowledgement that a human could thrive, even in the most alien and difficult of circumstances. The palace, which had seemed a labyrinth of challenges and tricks, now felt like a place of possibility, and Ethan knew with certainty that no matter what trials lay ahead, he would face them, not merely as a human caretaker, but as a human whose ingenuity, courage, and heart had earned him a place in an alien world. As night fell, the soft hum of the palace surrounded them, the gardens glowing with life, and Ethan felt an exhilarating sense of purpose. He had begun as an ordinary human, hired for a simple job. Now he was a trusted ally, a friend to a brilliant alien princess and a living example of human resilience and capability. Liara looked up at him, her eyes reflecting starlight. "You are remarkable, human. Do not forget that. And do not think I will stop testing you. For now, though, rest. Tomorrow we continue." Ethan chuckled quietly, the fatigue and tension of the past days melting into satisfaction. "I won't forget. And I won't fail." He watched as the princess floated gracefully away, her laughter soft in the air, and felt a quiet pride. He had endured her challenges, adapted to her world, and proved that a human could thrive in ways even the Altherians had underestimated. And somewhere deep in that palace, amidst floating gardens and humming machines, Ethan Carter realized that this strange alien world was exactly where he belonged.